we have today for this feeling of injustice, for what Robert calls the rage in the heart. You see, when you have a very dark room, no light at all, and you light a candle, a tiny little candle, that little light takes all the space. It is the one you need to brighten all the room. Well, the people of Camp Liberty are our light, our candle in this dark night. They are the ones filling our hearts with hope and with certainty and certitude that we will achieve what is right. Freedom for the people of Iran. I was today talking to somebody very special, a woman that has an incredible life. She was one of the victims of apartheid as a woman and as a person of color in South Africa. She's now into a very important position in the UN. I went to see her because she's today the High Commissioner for Human Rights of the UN. And 7 years ago, my mother did the same trip. She took a plane from Paris to Geneva to talk also to the High Commissioner of Human Rights of the UN. And when I was going to take the plane today to come here to be with you today, my mother reminded me how important that meeting had been. So when I was in front of Madame Pillay, I told her about how important it was for me to be now voicing, like my mother had voiced my case 7 years before, to voice the case of 6 women and a man. 6 women and a man that have disappeared, that are today taken hostage by the government of Iraq. Of course, the information that we have is accurate and precise. We know that they have not been killed, we know that they are alive. And we even know where they are, just near Camp Liberty. But for a very obvious reason, the government of Iraq is pretending not to know where they are. Like they have pretended not to know that there was an attack in Camp Liberty on the 1st of September, and when everybody was issuing the information and calling the world for attention, the government of Iraq was pretending that there was nothing that was happening in Camp Ashraf. Then after they said that perhaps there was a tank that had exploded. But now, how can we just pretend we don't know when we have the faces, the footage, the video footage, the history of the 52 people that died that day? And because we know that time is of the essence, today we need to take courage in order to be strong, to fight for the 7 that are in the hands of the Iraqi government. Why? Because they are facing the possibility of being extradited to Iran. We know that the plan is to have them tortured and executed. Why? Because they are the light, and because the darkness wants to prevent the light from shining. And because we have little time, we have to concentrate on them, because we need their light to continue shining. When I was talking to Madame Pillay, I asked her to start an investigation on not what happened with the 52 people that were killed, but what is happening right now with the 7 hostages that are alive. She replied to me that she already had called for investigation, and I told her that that was not enough. We don't need to call for investigation. We don't need the Iraqi government to investigate their own crimes. We don't need any other government to investigate anything. We need the UN, the High Commissioner for Human Rights, to investigate where the 7 people of Ashraf are held hostage and how we are going to bring them to freedom immediately. She told me that she had heard your voices in front of the building. She told me that she didn't know before that there were 6 women in that group of hostages, and that she didn't know that there were hostages. She told me that she wanted me to tell you that she has heard your voice and that she's going to act. But I also asked her to guarantee that we will have a group of UN officials in Camp Liberty from now on. As the UNAMI was present in Ashraf after the events of 2009, now we need the UN to be present in Camp Liberty before Maliki and his accomplices go through their plan, which is to kill all the people of Ashraf. Why? Because they are the light. They are the light for you. They are the light for the people in Iran that are listening and seeing these images and knowing this information, and who are finding in their struggle the answer for their despair. But they are also the light, and I truly think the words I will say, I think they are the light also for the whole world. I don't think I am exaggerating, and I truly want to convey this feeling with you. But you see, the problem is that in all the Arab community, we do not find an organization like yours. An organization that is respectful of the Muslim culture, but that interprets the Muslim culture in its true sensitive exegesis, which is equality between all human beings, not a misogynist interpretation of the Quran. You are the only organization that gives to women their place. You are the only organization that are thinking in bringing to Iran a democracy that is a secular democracy. And you are, I think, the ones that can bring peace to the whole Middle East. I am sure that one day I will see Miriam Rajavi as head of state of Iran. And that day will be a very important day for the whole world, because it will be the day where we will be able to see that the rights of women all over the world will be respected. You are here doing history, and I'm honored to participate in this struggle. Thank you so much.
Madam Razavi, my honored guests and distinguished speakers, I want to take a moment here to talk about you. You've been very patient listening to incredibly well-respected individuals, international figures, people who have an important message not only to you, but also to their respective governments. You've sat here for many hours as we all have looked at these pictures of these people who were killed in cold blood. I was thinking as I was sitting here how much pain you feel in your hearts for the lives that were dedicated to the cause that we all share. You have sat here patiently knowing that 7 hostages' lives are in immediate danger. When I looked at the video that you just saw with us of those people who were lined up and handcuffed and shot in cold blood, it was just another vision that reminded me of those children and innocent people who were lined up in Damascus and who had been killed by a similar dictator. That was a crime against humanity that was committed, and your emotions deserve to be registered, and I understand it, and I'm sympathetic. And you have called on international organizations, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. You've called on the governments of Europe, and you've also called on my government to act. The most important thing is to make sure that the Prime Minister of Iraq understands that it is not merely an appeal from us to him, but that there will be consequences. Consequences to him personally, consequences to his government, and consequences to the relationships that fuel his capacity to continue leading his country. That's point one. You came from far and wide to have the people here hear your voices as well. I promise you I've heard your voice. I promise you that I will do everything I can. Thank you very much.